D'Angelo and Veronica Thompson are a respected and well-known couple. They go to church regularly and they participate in different events for the church. Everyone who has ever been around them has only had good experiences when being around them. Not to mention they each have the kind of jobs that sets traditional wealth in motion. They have it made. They are set for life and whoever after them. Not only were they rich in wealth but they were also rich in love with each other. They have a peaceful bond and they communicate well together on so many levels. He loves his wife and she loves her husband. They are almost one and the same. Veronica always made sure that she listened to her husband. She was what most women call a pick-me. No matter when or where her husband needed her, she was always there listening and helping him stay on the right path to financial freedom. D'Angelo loved Veronica so much that he would do anything to make her happy and live the softest life possible. When he would leave for work he would always be so confident within himself because of the woman he had at home. Everywhere he went on his way to his office, people recognized him for being at the top of his game in the real estate business. D'Angelo goes into the building he works in and he sees the professors giving their lectures and speeches of Scientology. The students are engaged and wanting to get more interactions with the faculty members at the university. D'Angelo just isn't a successful real estate agent but he is also deep into Scientology. His wife Veronica and himself are so wealthy because of their relationship with the people who make the rules. D'Angelo feels like he has it made. 15 years of stacking our paper, he said to himself. I don't think I ever want to quit. Today was especially special for D'Angelo. Today was his day into being initiated by the being who made it all possible for him and Veronica to live such a lavish lifestyle. D'Angelo wanted to run as mayor of San Francisco but he knew that he would have to do something extra to be exactly who him and his wife wants him to be. To go to see the headmaster there are certain tests you must go through to test your loyalty to the house master. First you must meet with the house mistress. She is the only way to get to the house. She sleeps with the house and any other who has a demonic soul and will do whatever it takes to get ahead. She lets D'Angelo know that in order for him to allow him in the house's presence that he would have to drink the blood of 99 souls. D'Angelo did not hesitate. He wanted everything he and his wife Veronica could ever have in life. They wanted everything, by any means necessary. After drinking the souls, D'Angelo would have to recite the words of the house master from the Book of Mamba. D'Angelo opened the book and spoke a Latin language he never knew he could speak. The blood of the souls gave him free passage to the unknown. While they was earning their passage, Veronica was left to take care of her own affairs in the matter. She left home to meet with some very important friends of hers and D'Angelo's. These friends were very exclusive. Not only were they mysterious and most powerful, they were also very a member of the house. She could feel her spirit binding with her husband as he gotten closer to the house. There wasn't anything she wouldn't do to accommodate her and her husband's demands. On her way to meet her friends, Veronica's body went into a stiff position. She slowly pulled her car over to the right side of the road and waited for the seizure to pass. After 10 minutes had passed, she came to her senses and smiled a mischievous smile. It's finally time, she said as she checked her makeup in the mirror and continued on her way. As she made it to her friend Jennifer driveway she knew that this meeting would go well. Jennifer was prominent in the business community committee. She was one of the earlier members to come before Veronica and D'Angelo. Jennifer and her husband has been members of the house for many years. Jennifer and Veronica have only been friends for a short period of time but Jennifer was the person to introduce Veronica to the many treasures of the house. D'Angelo and Veronica used to live paycheck to paycheck. They had meals together at soup kitchens and donated plasma to earn extra money. They both had regular 9-to-5 jobs and even though they didn't have children the economy made it almost impossible for them to get ahead. They both graduated college in the fields they desired but they were so compatible that they both agreed on the same aspects of life and that's get filthy rich. They each had prominent futures as well as a hunger to be ahead financially of everyone else. 3 years ago Veronica was training for a registered nurse position. She loved taking care of her patients and administering medication. She brought the patients gifts and spoke softly during a conversation. But there was a dark side to Veronica. She always had a motive. She faked a smile with her patients and pretended she didn't mind working long days and nights. She just wanted to get to the top of her position and make a lot of money. Earlier that day she was in a patient's room. A woman dressed as if she was on her way to a ball or some sort of luxurious event was sitting on the hospital bed just staring Veronica. Veronica looks at the patient's chart and says, "It says here that you're having some serious nose bleeding with painful migraines." The woman just stares at her, then turns her head to the window. Veronica repeats herself and the woman looks at her and says, "How would you like to have everything your heart desires? Would it be so wrong to finally have enough to never have to work again? Are you pleased with you and your husband spending more time at work than with each other?" Veronica was kind of worried. "How do you know my husband?" she asked. "How do you know what we have or don't?" The woman responded, "My name is Jennifer. I am a member of the house. My boss sees all. He sent me here to find you." Veronica asks Jennifer if she and her boss were some part of a trafficking ring. Jennifer responded, My boss told me that you were full of energy. He feels that you and your husband have exactly what it takes to get anything you want. And he wants to see you get it. He specifically stated that in order for me to move forward with the house rules I would have to find another being who wants everything by any means necessary. He knows all and sees all. He is the Alpha and the Omega. Veronica responds, "Ha ha, God is the only Alpha and Omega. Your injuries must be pretty severe?" she asked Jennifer. Jennifer laughed and said, "Veronica, can your Alpha and Omega do this?" Out of nowhere a black snake appeared and spoke to her. The snake presented a luxurious lifestyle with unlimited expenses. The snake spoke with knowledge and experience of Veronica's life. It knew everything about her, D'Angelo, as well as their families and childhoods. She told the snake that God was her only God. The snake responded by telling her to look inside of her left pocket. As she stuck her hand into her pocket, she could feel her pocket bulky up. She pulled the item from her pocket and it was a handful of money. She began to count the bills with a hungry look on her face. $12,000? How did you? What is going on here? She asked. The snake disappeared and Jennifer talked Veronica into serving the house. D'Angelo loved her so much that when she explained all about her day, including showing him the money, he instantly believed her, and they have been serving since then. Only they are not real members yet. D'Angelo had his meeting with the house, but Veronica is yet to be initiated. When Veronica arrived at Jennifer's house, Jennifer was already standing in the doorway waiting for her with a big smile. They gave each other a hug and walked into the house. When they walked into the dining room, there were 3 men sitting on the sofa talking to each other. Veronica never saw them before, but somehow she felt like they were here to help get her and her husband into the house's favor. Her initiation was her top priority. Besides, if she backed out of the initiation process, then her husband's rite of passage would be voided and they would be punished indefinitely. But Veronica had no intention of backing out. This is what she wanted as well as her husband. Jennifer took her to a guest room and told her to put on the black robe laying on the bed. After she was done dressing, she was escorted to the backyard into a shed. The shed had a golden rug lying on the floor, and on the rug there were red symbols painted on it. Jennifer kneeled down on the rug and recited a mysterious message. After she finished chanting, the rug slowly began to roll itself over and a trapdoor was unlocked. The 3 men walked down into the floor first, then Veronica and Jennifer. Veronica couldn't believe her eyes. She was amazed at all the artwork on the walls, ceiling, and floor. It was like an underground world of historical significance that she had never seen before or even imagined existed. The further they went into the space, the scenery began to change. The walls appeared rustic and stoned. The floors began to become brick and cement. The ceiling mirrored the image of a cave's roof. And in front of her were stone steps leading up to a stone table. One of the men took Veronica by the hand and walked her up the steps to the table, and he stood beside her. There was an old black book on the table, and as soon as she got ready to speak, the book opened up by itself and words appeared onto the pages. The literature that was written was unfamiliar to her, but somehow she could read the passages. As she began to come to the end of the page, the other literature began disappearing. As soon as she finished chanting, fires crawled over the stone walls and it rose into such a deep darkness. The man standing next to her slowly walked over to her and rose his head. He went into the back of his pocket and pulled out a small blade. He gave the blade to Veronica and without hesitation she slashed his throat. She could feel a powerful force come over her. She knew that she wasn't her old self anymore. She felt rich and powerful. After the blood from the man flowed down the steps, Jennifer and the two other men began to drink it. They licked the blood from each other's faces as their shadows danced around the stone walls. Veronica couldn't wait to go home and make love to her husband. They both were now officially members of the house. When she got home, D'Angelo was waiting for her to tell him about her day. She missed him so much that she asked about his day and wanted to hear all about it. After they made love and they began to fall asleep in each other's arms, a loud noise came from the kitchen. It sounded like someone was moving glass plates around and knocking things on the floor. Immediately D'Angelo gets his firearm from the safe and he goes into the kitchen. Not far behind him is Veronica with her taser and her bear spray. When they get into the kitchen, a huge black snake is slithering around their countertop. Usually they would have either ran away or fired shots, but instead they were amused and almost expecting the serpent to be there. They were welcoming. The snake opened its mouth and spoke to them. They looked in a trance and kind of infatuated by the creature. The snake told them that he was the house, and he was admirable of their sacrifices. They smiled at the serpent and said they were proud to serve the house. D'Angelo asked it if they would see riches sickening to the eyes of the world. The creature responded, "No, you will see riches the gods will get sick to." D'Angelo and Veronica looked at each other and smiled. The serpent asked them if they had any questions about the relationship between in the house. They responded no, and the serpent smiled and disappeared. Later that night, both Veronica and D'Angelo had very vivid dreams about people dying and how their souls were trapped in a repetitive hell. The souls were grabbing at them and screaming their names asking for release. They woke up in the middle of the night asking the other why they each woke up. But instead of telling the truth like they usually do, they lied to each other and said either the room was too hot or cold or that the air was muggy. They never lied to each other, or kept a penny without it being shared. This night was different after they met with the house. It was lonely between them and distant. For the entire night they didn't touch each other, and when the other's leg or arm ended up on the other side of the bed, Veronica or D'Angelo would move away even more. What the hell has gotten into these two? Stay tuned to find out what happens next on Playing with Short Stories.